The line work, dramatic shading, and stylized characters resemble what you'd see in a graphic novel, especially ones with spy or action themes. From the very beginning, the legend of James Bond has been inseparable from the machines he commands. These are not mere vehicles. They are extensions of the man himself, sleek, dangerous, and always equipped for the unexpected. They are characters in their own right, automotive icons etched into cinematic history, each one a testament to style, power, and ingenuity. The roar of their engines is the overture to adventure, the glint of their chrome a promise of the thrilling chase to come. These cars are more than just transport. They are the steel and chrome soul of the world's most famous secret agent, the hardware that complements the man of mystery. They represent a fusion of elegance and lethality, a perfect metaphor for the 00 agent who sits behind the wheel. We journey back through the high-stakes world of espionage to look at the machines behind the legend, the four-wheeled co-stars that helped define 007. The story of Bond's cars begins with a Silver Ghost, a vehicle so iconic it has become synonymous with the agent himself, the Aston Martin DB5. First appearing in 1964's Goldfinger, this car set the gold standard for all spy vehicles to follow. It wasn't just a car, it was a rolling arsenal, a masterpiece of lethal elegance conceived by the brilliant minds at Q Branch. The DB5 was a vision of sophistication, its silver birch paintwork gleaming under the studio lights, its classic lines a study in British automotive grace. But beneath that polished exterior beat a heart of pure menace. With the press of a button, this grand tourer transformed into a weapon. The revolving license plates offered instant anonymity, a simple yet ingenious trick for an agent who lived in the shadows. But that was just the start. The true genius of the DB5 lay in its offensive and defensive capabilities, a suite of gadgets that would become the stuff of legend. Machine guns hidden behind the front indicators could spit fire at a moment's notice, turning a chase into a firefight. A retractable bulletproof shield would rise from the boot, deflecting enemy fire with an impassive metallic thud. The tire-shredding hubcaps, extending like metallic claws, were designed to disable any pursuing vehicle foolish enough to get too close. And then there was the oil slick dispenser, a classic tool of misdirection to send enemy cars spinning out of control. Perhaps most famous of all was the passenger ejector seat, a final, brutal solution for unwanted company, activated by a red button hidden innocently in the gear stick. The DB5 was more than a car. It was a statement. It declared that James Bond was not just a spy, but a knight of the modern age, his steed a marvel of engineering and deadly purpose. Its appearances in subsequent films, from Thunderball to Skyfall and No Time to Die, have only cemented its status as the definitive Bond car, a timeless classic that continues to capture the imagination of audiences across generations. Decades after the DB5 first roared onto the screen, the franchise needed to redefine Bond for a new, grittier era. For Daniel Craig's debut in 2006's Casino Royale, the filmmakers turned once again to Aston Martin, but this time for a modern beast of a machine, the DBS. This was not the gadget-laden car of a bygone era. This was a blunt instrument, a reflection of a more brutal, more physical James Bond. The DBS was introduced with a sense of raw power and understated menace. Finished in a specially created Casino Ice Silver, its aggressive stance, flared wheel arches, and carbon fiber details spoke of pure performance. It was a predator, built for speed and ferocity rather than clandestine tricks. The car's introduction is subtle. It's simply the vehicle Bond is assigned for his mission in Montenegro, a tool for the job. Unlike its famous predecessor, this Aston Martin was deliberately light on overt gadgetry. Its modifications were more practical, more grounded in a believable reality. A secret compartment housed Bond's Walther P99 and a medical kit, including a defibrillator, a feature that would prove gruesomely vital in a now iconic scene. The focus here was not on what the car could do to others, but on what it could endure, and endure it did. The DBS's most memorable moment came not from a clever gadget, but from a spectacular, bone-shattering crash. In a desperate attempt to avoid hitting a bound Vesper Lind lying in the road, Bond swerves the DBS, sending it into a terrifying series of barrel rolls. The stunt, which set a Guinness World Record for the most cannon-assisted barrel rolls in a car, was a visceral and shocking display of violence. It perfectly encapsulated the tone of this new Bond, reckless, vulnerable, and driven by emotion. The destruction of the beautiful machine was a powerful symbol. This Bond was breakable, and so were the magnificent tools he was given. The DBS was a statement of intent, a signal that the world of 007 had changed, becoming darker, faster, and far more dangerous. In the midst of the Aston Martin dynasty, another British manufacturer made an unforgettable splash, creating a vehicle so audacious it could only exist in the world of James Bond. For 1977's The Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore's 007 was given the keys to a pure white Lotus Esprit S1. On the surface, it was the epitome of 1970s supercar design, a low-slung, wedge-shaped masterpiece that looked like it was breaking the speed limit, even when standing still. Its sharp, futuristic lines were a perfect match for the flamboyant and gadget-heavy tone of the Moore era. For much of its screen time, the Esprit performed as a superb getaway car, its agility and speed showcased in a thrilling chase along the winding coastal roads of Sardinia, pursued by motorcycles, cars, and even a missile-firing helicopter. But the Esprit's true purpose was revealed in a moment of pure cinematic magic. Trapped on a pier with nowhere to go, Bond drives the car straight into the sea. The audience holds its breath, but instead of sinking, the vehicle undergoes a stunning transformation. The wheels retract into the body, fins and rudders deploy from the sides, and propellers emerge at the rear. The Lotus Esprit S1 had become Wet Nelly, a fully functional submarine. It was a fantastical concept brought to life with incredible practical effects, a sequence that perfectly captured the limitless imagination of the Bond franchise. Submerged, the car was just as well equipped as any Q-branch vehicle. It could deploy a smokescreen of black dye to confuse pursuers, fire torpedoes from the front, and launch surface-to-air missiles to deal with airborne threats like the villainous Naomi's helicopter. The submarine car was a triumph of creativity, a bold and playful idea that became one of the most iconic moments in the entire series. It represented the peak of QS inventive genius and solidified the Lotus Esprit S1's place in the pantheon of legendary Bond cars, proving that for 007 the action doesn't stop where the road ends. Following the aquatic spectacle of the Lotus, the series returned to a more grounded, harder-edged tone with Timothy Dalton's portrayal of Bond. For his 1987 debut in The Living Daylights, Bond was once again behind the wheel of an Aston Martin, but this was a different kind of animal, the V8 Vantage. A true British muscle car, the Vantage was a brute in a Savile Row suit. Its powerful, muscular design, complete with a prominent bonnet bulge, projected an aura of raw, untamed power that perfectly mirrored Dalton's more serious and intense interpretation of the character. Initially presented as a soft-top Volante, the car is later winterized by Q-branch, transforming into the hard-top Vantage, fully equipped for the dangerous mission in Czechoslovakia and Afghanistan. This V8 Vantage marked a glorious return to the gadget-heavy ethos of the early films, but with a decidedly more lethal twist. The optional extras, as Q would call them, were a formidable arsenal designed for both offense and defense in the Cold War landscape. The car featured hubcap-mounted lasers capable of slicing a pursuing vehicle in half, a rocket booster for incredible bursts of speed, and retractable outrigger skis for navigating icy terrain. For offensive measures, it was armed with a battery of forward-firing missiles concealed behind the fog lights. The defensive systems were equally impressive, including a self-destruct mechanism and police-band radio scanners. The V8 Vantage was a rolling fortress, a survivor built for a war zone. Its showcase sequence, a frantic chase across a frozen lake, demonstrated every one of these features in a symphony of destruction and clever escapes. It was a car that embodied the grim determination of Dalton's Bond, a powerful and heavily armed tool for an agent operating on the front lines of a dangerous new world. It was a fitting successor to the DB5, updating the concept of the gadget-filled car for a more aggressive and perilous decade. These cars are more than just props. They are essential threads in the rich tapestry of the James Bond saga. Each vehicle is a reflection of its time, a mirror to the style and substance of the actor portraying the iconic agent. From the classic elegance of the DB5 to the brutal power of the DBS, the outlandish ingenuity of the Lotus Esprit to the weaponized muscle of the V8 Vantage. These machines are as much a part of the legacy as the tailored suits and shaken martinis. They are the conduits of thrilling chases, the vessels for impossible escapes, and the very embodiment of the cool, sophisticated danger that defines 007. The rev of an Aston Martin engine or the sleek profile of a Lotus is a call to adventure, a promise of action and intrigue that has captivated audiences for generations. These iconic cars are not just a footnote in Bond's history. They are the powerful, beautiful, and deadly engines that drive the legend forward.